We are the New York Knicks. I'm back. Back in New York. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, it is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 623. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
I am doing, I will be doing much today. It's Thursday, the October 26th. The Knicks have just lost to the Celtics yesterday, and I will be feeling a lot better when they beat the Hawks tomorrow.
Even though ESPN gave the Knicks a 39% chance of winning?
Apparently the Knicks are being given by ESPN. They are expected to lose their next 5 games, according to ESPN. ESPN said the Knicks are going to have a good season, but apparently that season involves winning no games.
Yeah, ESPN said the Knicks are a top 10 team in this league, but they're going to start off 0-6 to some mediocre teams.
Yeah, that makes. I mean, the schedule's not easy, but
This is what
the Knicks
happens
are-
when you lay off all your writers.
how do you?
By the way,
How
the
do you-
Hawks just lost to the Hornets yesterday.
Okay.
The Hornets are not good.
No. How do you get? I mean, like, I don't want to. How do you get rid of Jeff Van Gundy? You get rid of Mark Jackson. You get rid of some really good people, and you keep who'd they keep, Jay? What voice did we hear during the game yesterday?
Doc Rivers and Doris Burke. So
And
What-
Mike Breen, but yeah.
what I didn't know was that Porzingis is tall. Did you know that? Because
I didn't know there was no way for Porzingis to avoid hitting Isaiah Hartenstein with an elbow. It was impossible not to hit him with an elbow.
I was like, thank you, Doc and Doris, for mentioning how Porzingis is tall every time the Celtics touched the ball for the entire first quarter. That was great color commentary. I am so
I
glad you
don't
guys got hired.
mind Doc Rivers. Maybe I don't mind female announcer anything. I just don't love Doris Burke. I don't know how she kept her job when they fired everyone that was better than her.
She just takes a player and gets obsessed with them for the entire game and only talks about that one player. Every time I watch a game with her, she does it.
I mean, she just went on and on about the elbow. She's like, well, what could Porzingis do? I mean, like, it was basically self-defense hitting him with the You're like, listen, Doris, every NBA game, if you hit someone with an elbow in the face, they call a foul. That's just what they do.
If that was your first NBA game that you've ever watched, you would have thought Porzingis was prime Kareem.
Yes. I do want to say, so today we're gonna talk about obviously the Knicks Celtics game.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Emmanuel quickly. Should the Knicks did the Knicks make a mistake not signing him to a longer or extending him to a longer term deal? We're gonna talk about the games ahead. What else are we gonna talk about, Jay? Anything? That's most of the topics, right?
Yeah, that's
okay.
the
That's,
gist of
that's
it.
a lot to talk about from yesterday's game.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I mean, first of all, the Knicks usually are really good on opening night. And we'll talk about the game in a moment. But tell me, was this not the most Knicksian game ever? How many you had the Knicks 2 stars couldn't hit a goddamn shot and shot 10 for a million.
Yeah.
The Knicks couldn't hit any free throws. They had a fake comeback. An old Nick had a night of his life. Plus, there was a terrible call by the refs that kind of turned the game into the Celtics.
And the next day, we got the last 2-minute report that said, by the way, we also screwed the Knicks 2 more times. So yes, it was literally, if you're playing Knicks game bingo, you got a bingo. You hit every single square on the board.
Every goddamn single square. So the game starts out. So first of all, overall, how are you? Before we even get into the game, how are you feeling about the Knicks after the game, Jay?
I'm furious. I went to bed furious. I woke up furious. Not because of the Knicks. I'm not worried about Randall. I'm not worried about Brunson. They had a bad game. It's after a 4-month layover. No, 5.5 month layover.
Yeah.
I'm not freaking out. I never take the first couple games seriously, whether they win or lose. They start 5-0. It's fine. Utah started off 12-1 last season. I'm not going to get too excited.
By the way, if you want to listen back to our episodes after the first game of last season, and every season we've done the show, Jay is an absolute liar. We overreact to every first game of the season. Just go with your lie, Jay.
I'm a new person. That was old Jay. New Jay does not get phased by the first 5 games.
We are here to completely overreact. I think last year at 10-13, we thought the season was over. We did not know the season was about to begin.
I can't get over the flopping technical. I can't get over it.
You want to get right into that?
I do. Because I'm not going to be able to focus on anything until we talk about it. I just can't get over it.
So flopping generally developed because guys were finding they were getting fouled and the refs weren't calling that. And the refs were only going to call it unless you basically showed you were fouled. And so eventually guys just started flopping to indicate they were fouled. But then they also, once you're flopping, when you really get fouled, you find out, well, I can flop and I can pretend I was fouled also. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of amazing clips of guys from LeBron James to anyone else who's flopping, and it really ruins basketball. So how do you fix it, Jay?
It was like a self-inflicted wound, though. The NBA created this problem.
Yeah, I just said they weren't calling fouls, so guys exaggerated to get the fouls called, and then you realize you can exaggerate when you were not fouled also.
So their solution was not to call the game fairly.
Well, a couple of years ago, I forget when, they actually tried to give you fines for doing this.
Yeah, they had they had a flopping report, and their goal was to shame you into not flopping.
That's what it was.
They got rid of that about 10 games into the season. Every season they have a mandate that they drop within 20 games. Remember they had the one where they're like, we're going to focus on traveling this season, and then people are walking with their hand under the ball by game 20.
There was a play at the end of the game, the end of the fourth quarter, where Tatum took 5 steps, basically. It wasn't that he was running with the ball. He just kind of he kept moving both feet, and it was just not called. But you're right. They always have a mandate. All in all, the mandates aren't bad. I mean, they kind of tried to cut down on they really tried to cut down some stupid moves guys do.
They had the mandate on complaining. Remember that one year? They were given tax if you even looked at the ref.
Yeah, I mean, that goes too far. That's kind of ridiculous. But yeah. I generally like the idea of trying to crack down on flopping. And the first flop by KP was a clear flop. And we all were in that moment, we were all kind of like, oh, this rule's awesome. Mm-hmm. You weren't happy when it first happened?
I was fine with it because it was a real flop.
Yeah, so, I'm just saying, in-game, calling a foul, the only way you can actually crack down on this is calling it in-game. That's the only time no one cares about, no one has shame. James Harden has no shame. Trey, none of these players have shame where they're going to, they care if they're on the 2-minute report it's not a 2-minute flopping report. Yeah. So it's just that because they're looking for it, they're not looking at other things like the landing area.
I mean, there was only 3 refs, so you can't expect them. 17,000 people at Madison Square Garden all saw it, but you can't expect the refs actually on the court to see that.
I liked your tweet, or post or whatever it is. You're like, the only 3 people in America that did not see Brunson come down on the foot were the guys in charge of reffing the game.
So that's where I flipped out because it was clear. I thought it was very, very obvious, and they created this whole flopping situation, and now they're making up flops. There's not enough flops in these games. They got to create flops in their head, and it was a 4 or 5 point swing in a 4-point game. So
I don't think that play should be a flagrant foul. I think it's idiotic to have the guys in your landing area come down his foot. I get the danger, but I just don't think that should be a flagrant foul.
I don't either, but that's the rule. Yeah,
that's the rule. They always call it that. How are you not looking for that?
They called hard for one. They called hard for one, and it wasn't even as bad as Tatum. I would argue that the feet swung into Hart more than Hart was in his landing area, and he got a flagrant.
I mean, so I assume this is considered the flopping is a technical foul, and because of that, you can't basically challenge it. But that seems ridiculous to me. You can't challenge that because that play should have been very challengeable. And the referees would have looked at that, and they would have rewarded a flagrant foul.
That was a game-altering play that killed momentum. The Knicks had that game, I think, and that just completely changed the tide of the game.
Did you see also they gave out Dante DiVincenzo got a flopping fine after the game? They reviewed a play and claimed he flopped on that play.
They're like, yeah, we
Because
didn't screw you guys enough. Here, let's just start fining players.
he didn't even fall over. He kind of got like from the play, like I don't know if he flopped or like just got pushed back. It kind of looked like who knows, but you're giving these out now post game.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. So anyway, the last 2-minute report said that they screwed the Knicks 2 more times. The intentional foul on RJ they didn't call, so 6 seconds went off the clock, which would have gave the Knicks another possession. And yeah, there was another foul they didn't call on Tatum, which
It really is a Knicksian effort when you have the combination of like the refs screwing you, fake comeback, and the Knicks not able to hit the easiest shot on the goddamn NBA court. The one time when everyone just has to stand around and watch you shoot, and you can't do shots.
So not to go all conspiracy theory, but the line was Celtics minus 3.5, and they won by 4.
I'm not going to go conspiracy theory with you, but I do know.
I'm just stating facts. That's
all I'm saying is if the Knicks would shoot their free throws at the 3-point line, they might have had a better shot last night.
Yeah, so we can get into that nonsense.
Let's get into
now.
like
the Knicks missed what 12 free throws, 14 free throws.
Yeah, they missed a lot. So, well, first off, the game starts off. The Knicks end up shooting a lot of threes in the game, but 9 of their first 11 shots are in the 2-point are in the paint, and they miss almost all of them.
I think they were 0 for 11 at one point in the game. It
was ridiculous, and because every goddamn shot was like, "Hey, you see those guys that are standing there under the basket? Let me drive into them." Mm-hmm. Okay, no, my turn to drive into them. No, my turn to drive into them. I cannot believe it was like the Knicks were aiming their. It was like the Knicks were like, my goal here with this play is to aim for Porzingis' hands with my shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, and then if they did get fouled, they missed their free throws. I know he only took 2, but Mitch was posting videos of him shooting free throws. He also said, I shot 50 free throws a day, as if like that's a lot of free throws to shoot.
Yeah.
When I was in high school basketball, I shot like 500. I'm not even exaggerating. Like 50? That takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Especially because like at least when you were in high school, I don't know if your dad like got the rebounds for you, but like I guarantee Mitchell Robinson has enough money to have someone else get all the rebounds for him.
Yeah, no, I got my own rebounds.
Yeah.
I took between 500 and 1,000 a day, and I got my own rebounds.
I mean, so the game started off first, Randall gets fouled. He goes to the line, probably misses both. Like not even like it was ridiculous. Then Mitch gets fouled. Mitch's shots were not like he'd never taken a free throw before. They were just line drives that were not even close.
Yeah, you would think with all that massive practice with 50 a day, he would have gotten his form down a little better.
I got to say, the one guy, well, I quickly shot good on free throws, and we'll get to him, but like,
and
he
RJ
had a great game. I was going to say RJ. The one guy who's been known for bad free throw shooting, actually, RJ was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got to the line, hit his free throws. RJ should give out lessons to the rest of the team on how to shoot free throws. I mean, Brunson, I'm not sure if I'm more angry about Brunson missing his one free throw or only getting one free throw. How does Brunson only get one free throw in the game?
He wasn't driving as much as he normally does.
So big picture also, I think the Celtics are real when healthy, which they will not be, they are a really good team.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people getting on Randall because Holiday was shutting him down. Holiday is a big guard, and he's one of the better defenders in the league. That's not like, haha, Randall sucks. That's like, there's a reason the Bucks won the championship with Holiday as the point guard. He's a very good defender. He's a very good player.
I dislike the Celtics, but they might be the favorites in the East right now. I mean, that's like if healthy, when healthy, and they won't be healthy. I mean, like Porzingis also kind of changes stuff for them as well. Obviously we all dislike Porzingis, but like if he's gonna hit the threes, he's a very tough guy to guard.
Look, despite all this garbage, Randall, Brunson completely crap in the bed. The Knicks played a healthy Celtics team. It was still only a 4-point game. Like, I'm not worried about the Knicks. Like, I know some people are like, oh my God, like Brunson and Randall aren't going to be this bad. And Tatum and Porzingis were awesome. Brown was, I don't know, 10 for 20 from the field. He was 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 okay, but like it's not like they can look at the box score and be like, "Oh yeah, we had a bunch of guys play like crap." Like I think they played a good game, and the Knicks did not, and the Knicks still almost won, and I think that's encouraging.
Yeah, I think the Knicks played. I mean, they tied it up. They should have won the game. Like, there's a lot of encouraging things about the game. Randall, 5 for 22. He'll have some off nights like this. Most nights will not be this bad. But Brunson, 6 for 21. That's not going to happen very often. Like, he's not going to have like there might be just a handful of games the entire season that are this poorly shot from Brunson.
Well, look, Randall 5 for 22, Brunson 6 for 21, Barrett 8 for 20. A lot of those misses were just under the basket.
I think Randall, 3 of his misses happened on like the first play.
Yeah,
Like in the first
yeah.
drive, he got the rebound, went back up. Like there was, it was a really tough matchup for the Knicks against the Celtics. There's a lot more they could have, but so Randall, his stat line is just crazy from last night. I think I posted on Twitter, and I was just not like, I wasn't posting to say Randall had a good game. He had a bad game, but after you leave the shooting part of it, he had 7 rebounds. Sorry, he had 11 rebounds, including 4 offensive, 7 assists, 2 steals, and no turnovers. That's a crazy line from Randall.
Yeah,
If he could shoot.
a no turnover Randall game is big.
Yeah, I was just kind of shocked that there was no turnovers for Randall. Like I had to like mention that, like that like he had to, like, forgetting everything else, he managed not to turn the ball over, which was pretty huge.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to go player by player, maybe? Talk about their night last night?
Yeah, let's do that.
Maybe a good way to talk about it. So Randall, going back to we started with him, I thought he gave effort on defense. His minutes also were not crazy. He played 34 minutes. I if anything, not having a backup power forward, I thought his minutes would have been crazier.
I didn't. I think the Knicks have enough depth, and it's not like Hart can't play the 4 or switch RJ over a little bit. A lot of teams are going small. I know the Celtics didn't. They went too big the whole game. But I think there's enough guys who can play a backup 4. You only need 14 minutes.
It seemed like the idea was to take Barrett out early, which he did last year also somewhat. Take Barrett out early, bring him back with the second unit, and Barrett would be the 4.
Yeah, he did get upset when he got pulled, I believe, in the fourth quarter.
Barrett?
Yeah.
Barrett was having a great game. I mean, like, I don't blame him for getting upset.
Yeah. On the other hand, he played 36 minutes. If he played 40, everyone's going to be complaining that Tibbs is burning him out and he's playing too many minutes. So, like, what do you want?
Also, the Knicks have just an interesting team where, like, I'm like, IQ's having a great game. I want to bring IQ back in. Who are we taking out? Like, Grimes is playing well. Maybe take Barrett out for a little bit to have IQ and Grimes on the floor together. The closing lineup is not that easy to figure out because they have more than 5 guys that really could justify being on the court.
It's going to have to be hot hand. Quickly was awesome.
Quickly was
on his "you didn't offer me as much as I wanted" revenge tour. That's going to go all 82 games.
You want to just bounce around a little bit and just talk about this? So the Knicks had till last Monday was it Monday? Or was it Tuesday? Or
I believe it was Monday at 6 p.m.
Yeah, Monday at 6 p.m. to basically offer him extension. If not, he goes till next summer, and next summer he's a restricted free agent, which means basically the Knicks there's a couple different ways it could play out, but essentially if he signs an offer sheet with another team, the Knicks could match it. He could also, if the Knicks offer him a qualifying offer, he could accept the qualifying offer for 1 year and become a not restricted free agent, an unrestricted free agent the following summer.
Yeah.
Which is the most unlikely scenario.
Yes.
He's going to get, and so basically people were like, going into Monday, were you on the side of like, we have to extend it quickly now, or you're on the side of like, we can wait till next summer?
I was on the side of we can wait till next summer. I figured if they wait, other teams can make an offer and they can make him maybe a bigger offer than the Knicks want to pay. On the other hand, the Knicks don't have any crazy salaries on the team.
Right.
And I don't know if he's going to get more than 20 to 25 as an offer. And they have his bird rights. So they can still sign free agents and then re-sign quickly to go over the cap. It's not like
They
they're
can
going to
keep him,
lose him.
basically.
The only
Yeah.
way they're going to lose him is if somebody offers something crazy and they don't want to pay it. And like, what are they going to offer that the Knicks wouldn't want to pay? Like, is he going to get more
Well,
than 25 or 30?
based on last night, maybe he will. I
Again, it's one game. Like,
yeah, it's totally one game. You're
he was
also
awesome, but let's not overreact and be like, oh, the Knicks dropped the ball, fire Rose, clear out the whole front office. They should have maxed them out. Like,
we don't know the details of what the Knicks are offering. We don't know what IQ is seeking. Maybe IQ won 25 or 30 million a year, and the Knicks were like, we just don't think it's like, we just don't think it's worth paying you that now, or we don't think you've justified paying him that much. Last year he had a great season, but he completely folded in the playoffs, and it's not unreasonable for the Knicks to say, hey, why don't we see what he does this season, see if he's just as good as last year, and see if he can not fold in the playoffs? Because everyone's killing Randall for his performance in the playoffs. Why lock yourself in with another guy who can't perform in the playoffs? And I think quickly will be better next year in the playoffs, but like, it's not. And also next summer, you're going to also be talking about, should we extend Grimes? There are a lot of contracts that you have to like think about.
yeah. It's I don't know if the rumor's true. I heard he was offered 18 a year for 4 years.
Oh, it's not an amazing offer.
It's not bad for a backup.
No, but he thinks he's a starter and he's going to play 28 to 30 minutes a night. So,
Yeah.
or he thinks I deserve starter minutes and starter money, basically.
Yeah. I mean, there was worse players that got more money. I will get. It's so hard for me to even. The salaries went up so much so quick. I can't even like. 18's like kind of on the cheap end now, which like 5 years ago that was like a really good contract. Like,
it really has gone up dramatically.
yeah.
And people were saying, I was arguing with people a little bit online, and I'm like they're like, well, what's the risk? And the risk, someone was like, well, they can get him for $20 million a year now, but next summer they'll have to pay him 25. And I was like, if that's the only risk, just wait till next summer. If it's $5 million in the scheme of a cap, it's James Dolan money. Just wait anyway. I mean, the Knicks signed Randall early. They extended RJ Barrett early. You can argue maybe they should have waited for both guys in retrospect. So I get them being a little cautious at this point. That said, IQ said, go F yourself, and had an awesome game.
Yeah, he was doing his prancing, which I love. I hope he just goes full villain with that dancing and prancing, because I know it pisses off the other teams. And I don't think there's enough of that. And I hope they don't start calling technicals on that, because I am pro taunting. And I've always been pro taunting. And I think techs for trash talking or looking at somebody or whatever is ridiculous. And I think they should do away with that.
You have to allow some celebrating, some not in your face taunting, but out of your face taunting. Absolutely. You got to allow some stuff. And so really right now, guys got paid and they're like, we got paid. I feel relaxed now that I got paid. I'm happy to have a guy on our team who's got a big chip on his shoulder and just says, I didn't get my bag. I'm going to fight this season to get my bag. I'm going to play extra well. Great. Quickly. I hope you earn a goddamn max contract, because if you've earned a goddamn max contract, the Knicks have gone really far in the playoffs, because that means you've been awesome.
Right. Exactly. If Quickly plays that well, maybe he is the starting shooting guard next to Brunson.
Yeah. I mean, people are like, well, what if he gets $30 million a year? Yeah. You know what that'll mean? The Knicks will match the offer and they'll have another guy on the roster that's worth $30 million a year.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Whoever is the best player should be playing. I know people use that as the Knicks don't need to draft anybody. If they draft somebody and he's better than Randall or RJ or Brunson, then they start over them. That's the way it works.
Yeah, I mean, the best players should play. I was saying to you off the air that there's a lot of things I get annoyed at Leon Rose about, especially in the draft. Obi, and congrats, Obi, I'm very happy for you for getting to the Indiana Pacers and getting an extra 4 minutes of playing time. Mm-hmm. Wow, those extra 4 minutes he's getting in Indiana, huge. But anyway, Obi was obviously a miss. They missed out the draft when they had to trade a first-round pick to remove Kemba's contract, where they could have had Jalen Duran, or they could have had Jalen what's his name from OKC, who looks kind of awesome.
Williams.
Jalen Williams. I don't love that stuff. They've done some weird stuff with the draft, and he's done some other moves that I like. His summer of extending everyone and having it be a disaster. But all in all, whatever the moves Leon Rose has made, he's built a pretty awesome team, and I'm pretty excited about this team.
They're a good team. They're a good team.
Yeah.
Jay Shady said he was at the game.
Oh, awesome. Until the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always stay at the end of the game anyway, but
No, I know, but it would be more fun if that would have been a pretty electric night to actually see them win the game.
yeah.
Okay, so Randall, we covered Randall. I guess we covered IQ. Mitchell Robinson seemed to not really show up that much. He had problems covering with KP, got in foul trouble early. Didn't look all that good.
You know, it's the worst team for Mitch because both of the Celtics big men play outside and
shoot threes, yeah.
And Mitch just doesn't like he gets all thrown off. He likes being under the net, and when he has to come out and then come back in, it messes up his whole game, and it's just a bad matchup. That's why we saw a lot of Ihart at the end of the game.
Yeah, they tend to do a lot on defense, like the drop pack coverage, where Mitch kind of lingers around the basket, and he really couldn't do that with those guys.
Yeah.
Ihart, it's nice to have two. Like, it's nice that Robinson doesn't work out, and we don't have to go to Jericho Sims. No offense to Jericho Sims, instead we go to another guy who's just as good of a starting center in Ihart.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Ihart.
I thought he was.
I don't think he's as good under the basket on defense, but he's much better at getting out to the 3-point line. So they're good in different situations.
Right. I think they complement each other really well.
Yeah.
Also, I love the toughness from Ihart. When he was going to fight after he gets the elbow. Was not the same play from when did he get where he
That was near the end of the game. The elbow.
The elbow was the end of the game. What was the play where he got pulled, but then he got a technical for re-instigating.
Oh yeah, that was another thing where it was like, so he held Jaylen Brown to so he didn't get a layup, and it wasn't a play. He literally just held him. It wasn't like too rough or anything. And
play happens all the time in the NBA.
Yeah, so
totally.
Brown gets mad and grabs his arm, and Ihart just yells at him, and it was a double tech, that shouldn't have been a double tech. You can't even verbally respond to somebody.
I mean, he kind of got he kind of went back into it.
He took a step. He didn't get right in his face.
He didn't get in his face. He didn't start a fight. You have to be able to stay. You can't be you can't be someone yanks you. You can't be okay, I'll take that and hope the rest cover this for me.
Yeah.
The guy, as long as the guy is not really getting involved, he's not throwing a punch or pushing, there should not be a tech on him. It was just the refs were hey, how can we also call this on the Knicks?
Yeah, it was weird. It was a series of weird calls.
Yeah. Enough of the refs aside. I mean, the Knicks lost the game at the free throw line, but I mean, when you miss 12 free throws, you can't get mad about anything else because the free throws it's just ridiculous.
I do want to say there was a lot more ball movement because the Knicks were last in assists last season, and there was a lot more ball movement, but I felt they were almost too hesitant. There was one play in particular where 3 straight guys should have shot it, and they kept passing it around, and then it got to Randall. One of his misses was the shot clock was expiring, and the 3 guys before him all should have shot the ball.
They do this a lot. They did this a lot last year. Josh Hart gets too hesitant. Dante DiVincenzo gets a little too hesitant. I guess he just got here and he's a little too hesitant. Too many guys you get the ball, you're open, shoot the ball. It has to be stop hesitating.
It's either ISO offense or nobody wants to shoot. Can we have something in between, please?
I mean, Randall missed a lot of shots on his own, but that's you give him the with 2 seconds to go, he's going to miss a shot because that's the situation you set him up for.
Yeah.
But I want to see more from. Well, first of all, I want to see more from Grimes. Grimes shot well. I thought he played well. I want him to get more involved in the offense because I think he could really, really help.
Yeah, I think it was second quarter and Grimes had taken one shot.
Yeah. He's like such an afterthought. I don't know if he's an afterthought or like, I don't, they have to get him more. He's the best 3-point shooter out there in the starting lineup. He's the best, one of the best 3-point shooters on the team. He shot 3 for 6. You got to I guess 6 3-point shots is not like a small amount, but like you got to get him more involved in the offense.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
What do you think of Josh Hart? Josh Hart was not much of a difference maker last night.
No, he got some rebounds. He did okay. He was kind of a neutral.
Yeah.
Even his plus minus shows that he was a -1. It was.
It's interesting. RJ and the RJ who played well was one of the top plus, and plus minus does not mean everything. But then like Dante DiVincenzo, who I didn't think did that much, was also a +5.
And quickly he was going gangbusters, was a -3. So yeah, plus minus isn't everything.
Not the best stat in the world, but I thought Dante DiVincenzo, he missed all his shots. He has not looked good on offense in preseason or this game. That said, I think he'll be fine.
He's not that bad.
No, he's a good player. Yeah, he's whatever jitters. He's once we're a few weeks into the season, we'll be very happy with what he's contributing.
Yeah, I mean, he was a starter on the Bucks before he got injured.
I mean, I do like the fact that I feel like some points I'm when the starters are in, I'm like, bring in the second unit. The second unit will change things up. And like both units are really good. Everyone plays defense. Randall at times, but like everyone really plays defense. Like it's a very, very solid rotation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he started on the Bucks and the Warriors. So
some pretty good teams to start on.
Yeah, he's gonna be okay. We
got some questions.
Yeah. A lot of players get jitters their first game on a new team, especially if it's the Knicks and everyone's going to shred you if you miss. It's fine.
Yeah, I think guys are getting a little too hesitant, and when you miss a shot, I don't know. I want to see them get more involved. This stuff will work itself out. There's too many good players in this team for it not to work itself out. But on Facebook, Lavery writes, should an effort be made to bring Woody back on the bench or have at least somebody of his caliber out there?
Yes. We've been saying this for about 2 years now. It would be great if they just had somebody on the bench who was really good at writing out of timeout plays or structuring an offense. As much as I like Tibbs, he's great at motivating players. He's got some good defensive schemes. He is not creative at all on offense, and I think he could use a good assistant coach.
In fairness, the Knicks were a top 3 or top 4 offense according to offensive rating last year. And the things that made them good at doing that are the same things they did last night. They were high in offensive rating because not because they shot the ball really well, but because they got a lot of offensive rebounds. They limited their turnovers. They were doing the things, and they got to the free throw line. Those are the 3 things they need to do to have a good offense beyond shooting the ball well. And they did all those things at least last night, even though they couldn't shoot the ball well.
Yeah.
Can you realize the Knicks shot 12% worse from 2 than 3 last night?
Yeah, I mean, Grimes and IQ shot really good from 3 and brought the whole percentage up, which is. Did you know?
Knicks were almost 44% from 3 last. They had a good 3-point shooting night. They actually shot better than the Celtics did, surprisingly.
Did you know that if they hit 4 more free throws, they still would have shot about 68-69%, which still would have been last in the league last year?
I think I did the percentage. I think it was if the Knicks shot 73% from 3 last night, they would have won the game. Because that would have been 5 threes.
Okay.
Not 5 threes, sorry, 5 free throws.
And I think 73% was what last place was last year in free throws. So
yes, if they could just, there's no excuse. Also, like I get sometimes you miss one of 2, but going there like Randall and Mitchell Robinson did and just missing both of them is ridiculous. And I know IQ and Brunson only missed 1. There's too many missed free. It was really frustrating. Nigel writes, yeah, how on earth was that called a flop on Brunson? Should have been going to the line to miss three free throws. RJ and IQ were both efficient on free throws, shooting 11th of 13 combined.
You know,
know what
if they called it correctly and he went to the line and he missed 3 free throws, I wouldn't have been as mad because I feel like that's on the Knicks. I hate when the Knicks lose games where I feel like there was other circumstances. Like if the Knicks legitimately lose, you beat us, fine.
Right. If that foul doesn't happen, you Knicks just missed the free throws, you're not as angry. It's just angry. That particular play made you really like it makes anyone upset because it was such an obvious like you're calling this new rule, so you miss a what is really blatant, really blatant flagrant foul.
You made it. You posted before. If you're gonna review it and still get it wrong, then let's just not have reviews and make the game end 20 minutes earlier.
I am such a big advocate for ending replay in all sports. I think it just made every sport worse. When I watch football, I have to hear the conversation of what a catch is. Just don't. And then you can't even figure out what a catch is when they watch the replay. NBA, you watch play after. Every time they go to the replay, only maybe halftime they get it right. And it extends the game in the most annoying way possible.
Yeah,
I
feel like the announcers know instantly. So like, why don't they just have that office where they have like 1 million people reviewing everything? Why don't they just like have them buzz in and be like, yeah, this is the call.
I know you don't watch baseball, but that's actually what they do in baseball. In baseball, all they do is put on the headset, and there's a central unit in Major League Baseball who has every game on, and they just review it there and then tell them what it is.
And it's
the
quicker,
umpires
right?
at the game do not call it.
Isn't it like much quicker?
Yeah, it actually is. I mean, sometimes it still takes a while, which is still annoying. But like the NBA version of it is so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have to say, like, the interesting thing about this team what we'll see a lot of is like, so Randall was off, Brunson was off, but IQ and RJ were on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe maybe on Friday night, maybe RJ's off, maybe Josh Hart's on, maybe DiVincenzo hits shots. They have so many guys that can hit shots. I love the depth. I am not concerned. The Knicks are 0-6. I'll be like crying, but the Knicks are going to play really well going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Paul writes, is quickly playing with a chip on his shoulder, having not been extended?
Yeah, I think he is. And like you said before, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, what's the problem? Patrick writes, missed all those layups under the basket shots in the first quarter. Holy crap, they missed so many layups.
But some of them were pretty easy too. It's not like they were all contested.
No,
it was just
a lot of them were contested though, but yeah.
Yeah. Opening night jitters. Let's not overreact.
Randall forced way too many shots also.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel writes, KP, I think, beat us more on defensive end than on offense. He completely neutralized Randall, as did Holiday. What can Randall do to get his inside game better against this behemoth Celtics team? Thanks. Great show as always.
Thank you. And Jay Shady wrote, KP flops so much, he hit the floor like 4 times to get BS fouls. According to the refs, he didn't flop.
You know what? One thing you could do, if you're like, hey, I'm going to have a tough time against Holiday, and KP's at the rim and it's going to be tough driving, I could pass the ball to Grimes and have him hit an easier shot. I can pass the ball to Josh Hart. I can go like, hey, I'm just going to take less shots tonight because my game may not work as well.
He did have 7 assists.
He did have 7 assists, so he did pass the ball. Actually, his stat line looks great. Otherwise,
did lead the team in assists. I mean,
yeah.
Also, let's not make like KP's tall, but Randall is really strong. He should have just did a little bit more bully ball.
Do you feel like Wembayamba is like the new KP?
I think Wembayana is what people thought KP was.
Well, we don't really know what Wembayamba is yet, but and he didn't have an amazing first game.
I think he's going to be what people thought KP was going to be.
I agree with that. Like everything, because like KP got all this hype back then, not the same level of hype, obviously, but people were like, "Oh my god, a guy at his size at 7'3", being able to dribble the basketball, being able to drive, being able to," and Wemby has much more guard-like skills.
Yeah,
I think
he seems faster. He's got better ball handling, probably a better outside shot.
Maybe he puts on some weight, he'll learn how to rebound.
It's just immediately they're like KP's a unicorn, and he just turned out to be like an above average player, but nowhere near a unicorn.
Nowhere near. I mean, it's just because you see guys that size doing those things, you're like, wow. And Wembanyama, I have to think is going to be a star in this league, but it does in many ways like what you just said before. Like he's kind of looks like what everyone thought KP would be.
Yeah, I feel like unicorn would be a better name for Wembanyama.
Then Alien.
Yeah,
Do you like that? I like that nickname, the Alien. I don't know if that's a why. I know Bill Simmons calls him that. I don't know if it's like a widespread thing.
it's not bad. It's not bad. I just feel like they jumped the gun on the unicorn one, and now nobody else can use it. And KP is like just a normal basketball player
Well, it got kind of overused really fast.
because everybody jumped on it, and it's like, how about we wait to see if the guy's good before we call him the unicorn?
I mean, KP's good. This is like a great setup for KP, and I mean, if you can stay healthy, like where he's like the fourth option on the team, like
Yeah.
yeah, that's a great setup for him.
I'm not. I know people are still booing him, and I'm not mad at KP.
I wish only the worst.
He wanted off the team when Phil was doing all this weird stuff, and they had Perry making bad decisions. Like the team was a complete mess.
Jay,
I'm
I
not
don't
that mad
appreciate
at
the context at all. I don't appreciate. Don't put this in context. You leave the Knicks, you're her enemy. There's no context needed.
him. I'm not like a fan, but I'm not like
Oh my God, Jay, your love of him. Like, are you gonna jack off to him later?
8 years later, like booing the guy.
Oh my
It's like,
Jay, he is the enemy. He's a jerk. Let's be mean to him.
okay.
Brian writes, lock this team in the spear with JD and the straight shot, playing full light setup and everything until the entire team, yes, that includes Mitch Rob, hits 20 free throws in a row.
Yeah, they should. I don't know what they do in practice, but after a game like that, if I was coach, they'd all be shooting 500 free throws.
By the way, how are the Knicks not playing at least one game in the spear this year? And not that I want the Knicks to have one less home game, but like, how are they not like, well, that spear would be kind of an awesome place to play a basketball game.
Is that the Vegas?
Yeah. A friend of mine went to see a show, so you two there. He sent me like videos. It looks pretty cool.
Well, the rumor has it that the NBA will be adding 2 teams very soon within the next couple of years, and it's definitely going to be Vegas, and I would guess Seattle.
Oh, okay. Does that mean James Dolan's going to be like, oh, I get the team in the spear and I have to give the Knicks? Because I would be down for that.
I'd be down for that.
Okay.
Although
Well,
that would
also
be the
right-
Knicks' luck if he did that, and then we get one of those owners that doesn't like to spend, like the Bulls owner, and every time they're on the cusp, he's like, I don't want to go over the cap. Let's trade away talent.
Or he take the current Knicks roster, move them to the spear, and we'd get like an expansion team in New York that's never going to win a title.
Or he'd just be one of those like big name chasers, and he's like, oh yeah, Harden sells jerseys, right? Let's trade for him.
Harden, by the way, let's finish the questions, then you can do your Harden story.
Yeah.
Paul writes, first game, so it's early, but do we need a different coach? Oh God. How good can this offense be with Tibbs? He's certainly gotten a lot out of the team, been good with development, solid with lineups, obviously good on defense, but we are just so stagnant. Seems like there's no offensive creativity. Sometimes we raise the idea of an assistant coach, but we but the idea of but we have maybe no Jeff Van Gundy in the bunch though. They have no great assistants currently, is what he's saying. Jeff Van Gundy also took a job with the Celtics, unfortunately.
Would we be asking that if the entire team didn't get cold against Miami and the Knicks made the conference finals?
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks have had a lot of success. I mean, if you trust the offensive rating stat, their offense actually is pretty good, even though it doesn't look as pretty. The Knicks, if IQ showed up, if Randall wasn't injured and showed up, like if guys just played a little, if anyone besides Jalen Brunson could hit a goddamn shot in the Miami series, Knicks would have been in the conference finals.
Mm-hmm.
So let's slow the roll on firing Tibbs right now.
I'm just saying I don't think they're that far away, and I think just adding a more offensive-minded assistant coach would be good enough.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. Though I don't know, is Woodson really a offensive coach? I know we mentioned Woodson earlier. I don't know if he's that like a offensive-minded coach either.
No, wasn't he like
was
ISO mellow?
defense.
Like after,
Yeah, he was ISO mellow, and he did a lot of things on defense that were interesting, like switching, but like he wasn't like Mr. Offense. So just on a total non-Knicks topic for 1 second, I asked Jay before the show if James Harden was playing tonight. I guess he's not playing tonight. What were you going to tell me, Jay?
Oh, so the story is that he spent the entire summer saying he's never going to play for Daryl Morey, and Daryl Morey is part of the Sixers front office, so he's saying he's not playing for the 76ers.
Isn't he the team? Isn't he the team president? Whatever. Leon
Yeah,
Rose's
yeah.
role.
So, like, he's not playing for the 76ers. So then he doesn't show up to any of the practices. Now, allegedly, he said he was taking care of his mom. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But he's obviously not in basketball shape. So then he just shows up to the team playing today, and he's like, I'm here. I'm going to go play in game one. And they're like, no, you're actually not. And they sent him home. They said he has to ramp up, which is NBA code for you're out of shape and you need to get up to speed. So he basically
He's like, I
shows
was in
up
shape last night enough for the strippers to sit in my lap.
right. So he basically shows up after not contacting the team for 3 months, and he shows up fat, and then like it is confused when they're like, no, you're not playing tonight. It's so weird. It's such a weird situation.
So he showed up at the plane, just expecting to get on.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah,
Wow.
you didn't show up for practice for like 2 weeks. You didn't show up to preseason. Like,
It's crazy. Also, like you're Daryl Morey. You spent so much time with James Harden in Houston. It didn't end up working out, but you know what you're dealing with James Harden, and then you went back to him.
that
You
is,
didn't have to have him in Philly.
I know. It's crazy watching him pull what he did in Houston and then pull what he did in Brooklyn and being like, it's like one of those people who keeps getting like toxic,
Yeah.
significant others, and then like thinking that then they're gonna change them. Like, oh yeah, he cheated on his last 3 girlfriends, but he won't cheat on me.
Just go around the league real quick with other NBA things we thought were interesting. I thought the Onion had a really funny. You sent me this headline where they said Ben Simmons needs to be drug tested after scoring 9 points last night. I thought that was like there was all these workout videos from Ben Simmons and all these talk right before the game, right before the season started. Like, this is the old Simmons is back. The old Ben Simmons is back. He's gonna be on. They have another All-Star in the Nets, and that's gonna be so good with Ben Simmons. And then he was mediocre Ben Simmons again.
What we need for this show is Ben Simmons PR guy, because that is the GOAT of PR people. It doesn't matter how many years Ben Simmons no shows, he's got everyone hyped in the offseason every year.
And then it was, I think, Chandler Parsons on maybe it was on ESPN said that like he's like, James, Ben Simmons, I just don't think he's ever going to be a 2010 All-Star again. And everyone's like, oh, he never was a 2010 All-Star. He never put up 20 points and 10 rebounds a game.
16.9 was his high season. So
he was an All-Star before, but like, don't make up stats.
right. Yeah.
Ben Simmons, he's never going to grow a third arm or be 8 foot tall again or like put up 80 points a game.
Yeah, it's not even like it was close. Like they said, Tatum is the only Celtic to average 30 a game. And I was like, didn't Larry Bird do that? And I looked and he had like 29.9. So it's not even a situation like that. Like 16.9 is not even close to 20.
It'd be like talking about Shaq at the end of his career and go, Shaq, I don't ever think he's going to hit 10 threes a game anymore.
Right. I don't think he's ever going to shoot 90% from the free throw line again.
Things that aren't going to happen. Like, what else? Also around the MLE, how's the fantasy season start for you? How's your team?
Pretty good. So I didn't end up with $24 left in the auction draft, which was nice. 2 years in a row, I completely screwed my budget up and ended up with way too much money. So, I only had $4 left. I picked some good players on bad teams was my strategy. So I picked up Mark Williams and PJ Washington on Charlotte, and they both went off yesterday.
They both had good nights on the first game. Yeah.
You doubted me bidding up Sengun, who also looked pretty good.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game also.
Herb Jones on the Pelicans looked good. So pretty happy so far. I mean, it's only 2 days.
We're up to that full minute of no one cares more than past a minute about your fantasy team.
Yeah.
Other things that happened. Obi did have his first game. The Pacers also beat the crap out of the Wizards. Pacers might be good this year. Obi was fine, didn't do anything special, but Halliburton, the guy we wished we had, was awesome. What else happened in the league last night, Jay?
Wembanyama had his first game.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Oh, OKC, Chet Holmgren, the other contender for Rookie of the Year, also didn't have an unbelievable debut, but the Thunder beat the living crap out of the Bulls. And after the game, the Bulls had a team player only meeting because they're already thinking there's a crisis going on there.
One game in, I've never heard of that in my entire life.
One game in, they're like, it's meltdown mode.
Yeah.
The Bulls, they are going to be the number one team in the NBA for trade rumors leading up to the deadline because they have to be blowing this up.
Did you see LeBron's press conference after the Lakers loss?
No, what did he say? I know he actually had a pretty good game that the Lakers lost. What did he say?
That's pretty much what he said. So he's there with AD, and he goes,
Who did not have a good game?
He goes, I think I did really good on my end. You know, I hit my shots. I got a lot of rebounds. I think overall I had a really good game. And AD's just sitting there like taking all this passive aggressive, like he's like, well, I don't see any problem from my end because I played really well. And that was like his entire statement.
Okay. You know who didn't help him out? Cam Reddish. When people are like, oh, and they got Cam Reddish, that's not a positive.
Oh no, I saw a dozen posts about how he played lockdown defense.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I didn't realize he was so good last night.
Yeah.
What do the Knicks got coming up? They got 5 games coming up, Jay?
Yeah. Yeah.
We got, what is this? Do you have it in front of you?
I will in a second. I know Hawks and then Pelicans.
Yeah. They have to
beat the Hawks. They have to.
They have to beat the Hawks. By the way, Zion's back for at least a couple games. So the Pelicans will be pretty tough.
They will. They do have a good team. I mean, they have a good team. It's just you never know if even Ingram's been injured a lot, but you know, obviously Zion,
it's a
played
long
114
season.
games in 4 years or something like that.
So the next 5 games, they got Atlanta tomorrow night. The Knicks, I will be really concerned if they don't beat the crap out of the Hawks.
Yeah.
They got New Orleans and they got Cleveland on back-to-back nights, including Halloween, and then Milwaukee. It's a rough schedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then they got the Clippers, then they got the Spurs. We got to see Wemby. They got Charlotte, who they beat the crap out of. And then we got Boston again on the 13th. But they got the Knicks have to at least be 5-5, hopefully 6-4 after this first 10 games. Hopefully better even, but
yeah. So predictions?
Predictions. You want to predict the next 5?
Sure.
They will beat the Hawks. They will beat the Pelicans. They will split with Cleveland, and they will probably lose to Milwaukee.
So they'll be 3-3 after 6 games.
Yeah, I think that is where they're going to start. The Knicks will. My guess is like last season, the Knicks will have like maybe 2 win streaks where they'll really pull ahead of 500. But most of the year will be like kind of like 500 than they have with the win streaks, basically.
My favorite part of the Cleveland back-to-back is when you look at the schedule on ESPN, they have a link to buy tickets. And the game in Cleveland says tickets as low as $6.
Yes.
And the game in New York, tickets as low as $122.
I was commenting on Twitter or X, whatever, that if I wanted to take my family of 4 to the Knicks home opener, it was the equivalent price of buying out the entire Pacer Arena for game 1 for their home opener.
I really hate having to pay the New York tax. It's like that all season. Go to a game in Utah, tickets as low as $10. A game in New York versus Toronto, tickets as low as $113. Thanks, guys.
My son told me his friends, the dad got them like some kind of season ticket package of 15 games. And the kid told my son that the tickets were $200. And I was like, you mean per game? My son's like, no, ticket $200 for the whole package. And I was like, okay, son, your friend has wrong information. Just tell him he's wrong. There's no way the $200 for 15 games. You're just your friend is just has fake news.
That was probably Ticketmaster's fees after you bought the tickets.
I am betting it was like $200 a game or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like an extravagant amount to pay per game for 15 games, but like
no, it's not. Like,
well, no. I know price wise, that's
yeah.
what it would cost. I just mean to spend $3,000 in 15 games just seems like a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jay. I know you live in a mansion and you can. Jay, why don't you send me more games, more tickets for $200 each?
Yeah.
I'm planning on taking my son to at least 2 games, or I'm going to probably do 2 games with him, and like just hopefully and try to pay for a playoff game when they make the playoffs.
All right. So
That's my plan, Jay.
we will be back. nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. We're at NYNicks Podcast on YouTube, NYNicks Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and Crumpled Bacon on Twitch. Thank you, everybody
Yes,
who joined in the chat. And I will be back next week with you, and then I'm going to be in Thailand for a couple weeks. So
But some bullshit. Wait, when do you go to Thailand?
I go on the 16th.
Oh, so we have 2 weeks of Knicks shows, and then you leave.
If we can squeeze one in, like the beginning of the week. Of
You said the
16th.
16th or the 6th?
The 16th.
Yeah, so I'm
Oh,
looking at
there's
them.
2 more weeks? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm like you can't go the week before because you're packing for the whole week.
Okay. No, I have no sense of time anymore. So, okay.
we
I'll
could
be
probably
there for 2
fit
more weeks.
even that week. We probably could fit a show in on like that Monday night.
Okay. So,
You're just trying to get out of doing shows.
kind of, yeah.
Well, the Knicks are going to be, by the time you get back from Thailand, the Knicks are going to be goddamn awesome. So here I am, my wishes going forward. I wish that hopefully RJ Barrett watches his diet and does not get stomach poisoning, any kind of food poisoning. I hope Mitchell Robinson finds out how to stay healthy. And I hope Randall decides to be Randall again. I want to see first quarter Randall again soon.
Sounds good to me. Thanks for listening,
Okay.
everybody. We will be back soon.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go.
This is the end.
Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Everybody.
All right.
Do you want to do either next Sunday or Monday night? Maybe next Monday night? Because I'm looking at the schedule and they have it's Hawks, New Orleans. Then they don't have games on Sunday or Monday, and then they play Tuesday, Wednesday. So I guess we could do that or do Thursday. But we'd have 2 games more of content if we did Monday, Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, let's do Monday.
Yeah, that's what good. Yeah.
So we will be back Monday, folks.
Yes, we do not have regularly scheduled days. We just have ad hoc kind of when the Knicks aren't playing.
We like
It's
to make
most-
this show as difficult to find as possible so we can minimize our potential audience.
And I think I'm looking at the we'll make it work before you go. We'll fit in shows before you go. But it was just fun having I couldn't get that much into the preseason games, but now I am fully all in on the Knicks and Knicks content, and very excited to see how the season goes.
Yeah. I couldn't get into preseason either. It just I have a hard time getting into games that don't care. That don't matter, that
No, it
don't
makes a
matter.
huge I was just even having fun looking at the box scores last night of other teams. Just now the games actually count, to seeing what guys do. It's fun.
It's when the regular season starts, I look at the box score of every game for every team. It's bad.
Yeah, I stand. I mean, you're at least doing fantasy. I'm just doing it because I'm just curious about how guys are doing.
Yeah.
And I was watching last night. I was watching I really wanted to watch Wemby last night, but then 3 quarters in, I was like, he's not doing that much tonight. I gotta go to bed. Dante looked good last night. I mean, Dallas won last night. I mean, I guess the Spurs aren't very good, but
They drafted a center that is better than expected.
yeah, getting young guys is helpful.
I didn't want to go off on the show, but Duran with 17, 11, and 4, the Knicks had him for 2 minutes.
Yeah, you know what, Jalen Williams is the one the real miss there. I feel because he's a 2-way 3.
Mhm.
Like that's what we really need. Duran, like he's a project at center. Is he so much better than Mitchell Robinson
Yeah,
or
that's the
Isaiah?
annoying part. Like, why not draft him? Like, the worst case scenario is like, what he's better than. Like, what if he's better than RJ? Like, okay, so then he plays above RJ. Like,
Yeah, no, I mean we both agree. First of all, you have a number 11 pick, you figure out how to use it. Like that's just like malpractice, not being able to use your number 11 pick because you're like, I can't figure out the cap otherwise. And they made some other trade right after that where they traded like 4 firsts to move off like Alec Burks and it was Burks and I forget who else's contract. And that's if they just done that alone, they would have had the room for Brunson. So it was so insane they had to do it to get that. They had to like that whole thing was just. You could have also just stretched. You could have kept your 11 pick and just stretched Kemba's contract. Also, that's also what you could have done. There were so many
yeah.
ways you could have done this and drafted at number 11.
Yeah, with Jalen Williams, the Knicks are so much better.
But even if you don't know that, just use. I think Durant. My point with Durant is that like maybe you missed out on a guy, but like you do have very solid centers right now. It's not like you're hurting at the center position, whereas we could really use a guy like Jalen Williams.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And Jalen Williams, like there are a lot of center. Like I mean, I don't know how Durant will be. Like the people say he has a lot of talent and all that. Maybe a more offensive center than what we have now, but like Jalen Williams might be like a future All-Star. Like that's a much bigger miss in my mind.
Yep, add it to the list.
Yeah, I mean, like also we could have gotten what's his name from the Devin Vassell. That would have been pretty good if you're not going to draft
God.
like Obi was just the dumbest fucking pick ever.
Vassell would have been awesome. I had him last year on fantasy, and I have him this year too. And he's really, really good.
I mean, the Knicks have really just fought. I mean, like, and they were really good for where they are, and they've like also made a lot of like positives and whatever. But like some of the moves were just like the Obi pick was just idiotic. The Knox pick when they did that was idiotic. At least like the Frank pick, like the Knicks needed a point guard. It was reasonable to take him. Like even the people said like, oh, he took a guy to play Phil's system after Phil's gone, or Phil's gone like shortly thereafter. But like Frank was a reasonable risk, and he just didn't work out. Like,
yeah, I can't get mad at that one because nobody really knew Mitchell was going to be that good. It was a toss up. I mean,
right, and at least I understand not drafting for Knox. I understand not drafting SGA only because you just drafted a point guard the year before, and you had some faith that maybe Frank would be good, even though it was idiotic. Or like even though like you should have seen after one season that you could have used another point guard. But the amount of good talent they missed out on because of Knox is just ridiculous.
Yeah. The next 6 or 7 picks, I think, were all really good.
It was something like 5 of the 7 of them are really. I mean, well, one of them was Miles Bridges, so I guess that's not like a real miss. But
right.
It's still you missed out some really the Obi one. I feel like it's just maybe like the most frustrating of all.
Yeah, it made no sense at the time.
Because you're at the point where you're like, we need a point guard again. This is the best point guard in the draft. The one guy we didn't need in the top 10 was the guy you took.
Yeah.
Literally the one guy you're like, well, your highest paid player guy plays that position. And he doesn't really play defense. He's not a good defender. We know that already. Why are you drafting this guy? Because he can just dunk a lot?
It was insane at the time. It's not even like in retrospect.
It was at the moment of the draft. We were leading up to the draft. We were like, because there were the rumors about the Knicks trying to trade up for Obi, and you're like, what in God's name are they doing? And your general hope was at least like if the Knicks can't trade up, he'll be gone before the Knicks pick.
Yeah. One of your pictures in the back is driving Andrew crazy because it's like half off.
What do you mean?
The one above
Which
the
picture?
Jets, it's like falling off.
Let me.
Mark loves doing live shows because of stuff like this.
Does Andrew like that better?
Yes. I was
you,
just saying that this is why Mark loves doing live shows.
I mean, I want to get rid of the camera so badly. I hate it so much. But if you look around, my basement.
Holy
is just,
crap!
I never showed this to you.
No.
My basement is just my kids' I put my kids' stuff all over. I mean, they don't really draw stuff that we hang up anymore because they're not like little kids anymore. But when they were little, I would just put all the pictures up. Like instead of hanging everything in the refrigerator, I'd hang everything in the basement.
What's the statute on being able to take them down and not traumatizing them that you're like taking their stuff down?
I don't even know how much they would care. I think my daughter would care more.
Mhm.
My son, I don't think care. I mean, they don't really care about anything being hung up that much. I think hung a couple things my daughter like in the last year. She also has a bunch of paintings that were like in the last 2 or 3 years.
Because at
Yeah.
some point, one of them is going to be like, "Oh yeah, these suck. You please take them down."
It is kind of crazy that like I've decorated this room with like all their stuff, but I don't know. It's kind of cute. It's kind of
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm just,
it's not like this is not a nice room of the house. It's just the basement where we have like our.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
I'm sure my house was like that at some point. with my
But I
stuff.
thought it would be like a long time ago. I just thought it was like when we first moved, I was like, oh, it would be kind of like I don't want to have a refrigerator covered with stuff. And I was like, oh, this would be kind of cool to put in the basement because like it's the basement. And
Yeah.
so I mean, they do all their art. There are projects down here. I have my exercise bike I work out down here. We have I'm sitting at our pool table. Like we have like a 2/3 pool table. I wish we had a bigger basement. That's one thing I wish we had.
Mhm.
Jay, how's your basement?
Mm. This is my
Jay,
all-in-one.
you're smart not having a house because a house is annoying as hell.
You've been very adamant that I made the right choice not getting a house.
I could not be more adamant. I mean, first of all, aren't you happy with your choice right now?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Like you like where you live. Like a house it makes sense because we have kids and they go to schools and all that. You want to be part of a community, but a house is just like you're just waiting for the next shoe to drop in terms of like a nightmare.
My
Like, there's
only
just-
complaint is not having any outdoor area. Like I have walking trails minutes from my place, which is nice.
Yeah.
But it would be nice being able to like just sit outside and read a book or something, like a little bit of an outdoor area. And my other complaint is
you're not going to do that as much as you think, though.
probably not. And my other complaint is having people below me because like I'm always self-conscious about walking or getting exercise equipment or anything like that. Plus, as though like we're going to Thailand in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and two of my neighbors are gonna like pop in and take care of my cat in a house. Less likely to happen. Like it's literally like the lady next door, and then the guy, the next door after that. So like, it's convenient for stuff like that.
You probably don't have. I mean, I guess you have real estate taxes you pay with the apartment.
Yeah, it's baked into the co-op fee. So
Okay.
I pay one check to the co-op, and that's like tax and co-op fees.
Okay, we could talk off the show about that way. I don't know if the room's still open, but like the real taxes alone, you would be happy not to pay the real estate taxes.
Yeah.
And then like just everything that goes wrong with a house, like you're like just the more. I mean, we have like a modest house. If we had a bigger house, it would just be even more of a nightmare. But like, there's just so many things that can go wrong at any time. If you hear some noise, you're like, "That's a weird sound from the pipe." I'll just pray nothing happens.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm probably paying more for the co-op fee every month, but like if something breaks, they fix it. So it even, I'm probably ahead
Yeah,
in the
that's-
game. Like if your boiler breaks, that's like 2 years of my like maintenance fees.
Can I
Like,
ask you how much the co-op fee is?
I think it's around 700.
A month?
Yeah. Cause I pay about $13.50 to the co-op, and I think it's about half between taxes and co-op fees.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think our real estate taxes here are I think when we first moved in, I think it was like close to 12. I think it's close to 18 now.
A month?
For the year, 18.
Oh, 1,000.
Yes, not
Holy
$18.
Holy shit. You haven't even been there that. No, you've been there a while now.
I think they did something with like NASA trying to even out like taxes and for like in Nassau County for people like the house we moved into, like they've been you can challenge your real estate taxes every year, and if you challenge them, like you hire a company to do it, challenge them for you. If you challenge them, like they stay lower, but they're trying to even it out. So like some people's like ours were challenged well, so they kind of went up a little faster. And we pay like there's school taxes, general tax, there's a village tax, which is an extra like $1,000. I don't even know what we get from living in a village, but we apparently live in a village. They have all these. So anyway, house like if you think about it, also $1,200. It's like every month I'm paying $1,500 just as like rent to the town basically to live here.
Yeah.
It never goes away. It only goes up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then yeah, there's the cost of everything else. You made the right choice, Jack.
All right. Andrew said his dishwasher and washing machine were in a standoff to see which failed first.
Yeah, I think the only things that haven't, and I'm jinxing myself now, the only things that haven't failed since I moved in are a refrigerator, which is on its last legs. That's it. I think everything else. Dishwasher, we replaced the dryer, washing machine, everything in our house we basically replaced since we moved in. We've been here about 8.5 years.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about washer and dryer either. Dishwasher and fridge would be on me, though.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty good amount. I mean, the amount of things that you don't have to worry about also are like pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And the fact that like at least something breaks, you can call like maintenance and they fix it. Whereas something breaks, I'm like, gotta figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I gotta run.
right.
Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll be back soon. Real quick, Andrew wants to know your ant situation.
I actually had the exterminator come today because I saw a couple.
Still
but
going.
Generally, it's not been though. Like they give you like that 6-hour window when they're gonna come.
Yeah.
My most important work call of the day, they come in the middle of it. So I'm like, fuck. I'm like I had to let the guy in, be like, just there are ants around here. I got they're in the kitchen. I got to go back to my work call, and then by the time I'm off my call, the guy's gone. And I'm like, okay, hopefully he figured the ants out while I was on the phone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. On that note,